terms of the don'ts of postpartum exercise, which I think you touched on a little bit, but can you give us a top 5 of those as well?
So there's no woman really who regrets progressively going through her postpartum journey. There's so many women who regret going too fast, too quick. And that's something to be mindful of. It's one of those hard things postpartum because you don't actually want to get to your limit. So you don't want to test out how far you can go. So it's not like day 5 after you're having your baby, you're going to go for a 45-minute walk. Just don't do it. It's a matter of do your small little progressive movements and then come home, rest, and then go again and do what you need to progressively. The only thing I can say, it's like if you had knee surgery, you wouldn't do nothing and then go straight into going for a run. It's the same postpartum, regardless of your delivery mode, you need to progressively strengthen back in because the muscles, the mind and the muscles need to reconnect. So really, really important. And don't ever feel like you've failed. I think that so many women put these expectations on what they can try to achieve postpartum, particularly if it's your first and you are so used to having so much more free time, even in your pregnancy, because you didn't have a baby around. So there is so much little time because of the frequency that they need to feed, and they're sleeping, they're unsettling, they're crying, all of those things. You don't have long. And so that's where, for me, when I was postpartum, I realized that a 20-minute workout was too much. Not because I couldn't handle it physically, but just I didn't have the time. And so that's where the express sessions have come in my core rehab, which are 8 minutes. And that's just, enough to get you feeling good, but potentially you only have time to go to the toilet, to, have a drink of water and to do 8 minutes, and then you're back needed again. So there's just, don't feel like you failed, small, short. And don't forget that you're healing. So obviously there's a lack of sleep. There's a lot happening, and the healing process is slow due to, these things. So you need to keep aware of the main goal is actually to help heal your body postpartum, not necessarily achieve fitness goals or high expectations. So just keep that in mind. And don't compare yourself to anyone. Do not go on social media and compare yourself to somebody else. Just don't do it, because there is so much, not incorrect, but there's so much non-real information out there. There's so many posed photos of a woman it's her perfect point in her week, and she's just posted it, and then, the rest of the week is not like that at all. So don't compare yourself to anybody or anyone else's body, because again, it's about your journey, pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, birth, and then postpartum. So be mindful. Also, everybody gets bloated, and there is this, your body's still just coming back as your uterus is contracting to come smaller again, and there's a lot happening in particularly those early weeks postpartum, but still as you go progressively. I think a lot of people think that it's like, okay, 6 weeks of healing, and then from 6 weeks I can go play my sport, do my running, and be all good again. It's like, no. I see postpartum particularly as that first 12 months. Not to say you can't feel confident and strong in your body before that. About 5 months is where I started to feel good, confident, strong. And that was from me doing my exercises, obviously. Month 4, I was not feeling great, and it wasn't because of the exercises. It was just because of what my body was doing. So, just be mindful not to compare yourself. And I would suggest don't do nothing for the first 6 weeks and then go for a run. It's, again, progressive. Start with your pelvic floor and start early. Like I said, it could potentially be hours or days after you've given birth. You need to talk with your healthcare professional, but those who really know about the pelvic floor, unless there's extra complications, it should be that you're activating because it's going to help with that healing process. You don't want to overdo it. It's not like you should be trying to do your pelvic floor all day long. Sets of 5 if you can. 5 might be too much, but sets of 5 and, doing them 3 times a day if you can. Maybe start with once a day. So it's just don't overdo it, but certainly do something, which is the whole reason that I've added in this 0 to 6 weeks section of my online program, because I have so many women say, when can I start? When can I start? And giving that guidance is really important.
I agree, and I think absolutely you can start something little straight away. I think it's very rare, unless there's been significant complications, that you can't do that. But I completely agree that it should be slow and steady. And I think, especially social media, I think, there's a lot more Photoshop and editing than what we would think is happening. And so it's so important to not rely on that as your main source of information, and where you should be at 2 weeks postpartum or 4 weeks postpartum or 6 months postpartum. I think it's a very curated version of life in the postpartum, I think, for those that are sharing it.
For more videos just like this, visit productive.com.